Welcome back to the Spread Pick'em Show. I am solo today. I'm having some Wi-Fi issues at my house. If you watched my stream with the entertainer the other day, had some issues, so hopefully those are resolved by next week. But for now, I will do the Week 5 spread picks by myself. Andrew's pick will still be on here. I'll just say what they are. So we'll start with the Week 4 review. The Jets and Broncos game, we both got a win there. The Broncos won that game. Thank you, Brett Rippon. And the Jets, they had that game for a while, but unfortunately they lost. Cleveland at Dallas. We both took Dallas minus 4.5, but Cleveland outright won the game. Odell went off. Dallas' defense looks terrible this year. This crossed out game here, I think, is the what was supposed to be the Titans and Steelers. They didn't play. Next is the Saints at Detroit. So I went with Detroit as a +4. Andrew took the Saints. I think the Saints won by 5 or 6. So he barely got that one, but luckily for him, he got it. Minnesota at Houston. I figured this would be Houston's time to shine against a not-so-good Vikings defense. Turns out I was wrong. They couldn't tackle Dalvin Cook, and the Vikings won that one pretty easily. They won by 8 points, I believe, so they covered the 3.5 there. They just won the game outright, I should say. Next is Indianapolis at Chicago, one of the more boring games of the week, honestly. Indy was a minus 2.5. They won that game by, I think, 8 points. I feel like it was 19-11 maybe the score, so I take the L there with Chicago. Andrew gets the win with the Colts. Next is the Chargers at Tampa Bay, one of my favorite bets of last week. So they got the win. They lost by 7 points. It was 7.5, so I won that one by half a point. Very good for me. Andrew takes the unfortunate loss there. Next, we had Baltimore at Washington. Baltimore wins this game by 14 points. They cover the 13.5, so we got lucky with the line right there. But, you know, the win's a win. I'll take it. Next was Arizona at Carolina. Arizona was one of Andrew's favorite bets. They lose again outright. They lose at Carolina. Carolina's looked good so far. I have to give them more respect. Next was Jacksonville at Cincinnati. I went with Cincinnati. Andrew took Jacksonville. Cincinnati won that game by, I'm trying to think how much. I feel like it was a touchdown maybe. So they covered that spread there for Cincinnati. They get their first win. Next was Seattle at Miami. Well, it was pretty close most of the game, but Seattle pulled away at the end. Metcalf had that nice catch and run for a touchdown, so they covered that one barely, but we'll take that. Next was the Giants at the Rams. The Giants defense showed up in a nice way. They covered that big 13-point spread. They still took the loss, and they lost by 8 points, I think it was. I take the win. Andrew takes the loss there. Buffalo at Las Vegas. We both got a win there. Buffalo won that game by, I'm trying to think now, but it was a decent amount. I feel like it was by a touchdown at least. So they won that game. We win that one. New England at KC. Yeah, this was interesting because we didn't know Cam Newton was out at the time of the recording. We both went with KC anyway, so we got very lucky there. KC won by a good amount. We take the win there. Philadelphia at San Francisco. I wish Andrew was here so I can congratulate him about his Eagles finally winning. First place in the NFC East, I believe. The Niners, they almost had that game, but Nick Mullins was throwing it away at the end, so the Eagles win that game. I take the L. Andrew takes the win. And Atlanta at Green Bay. Atlanta almost had the back door in the fourth quarter. They couldn't complete it. Calvin Ridley had the ball knocked out in the end zone. So Andrew takes the win there with the Packers. I take the loss with the Falcons. I said to you guys, if the Falcons cover that game, I'd wear a Falcons jersey. Well, this is not a Falcons jersey, so you guys know what happened there. But with that being said, let's get into the Week 5 spread picks. So we start, as always, on Thursday Night Football. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Chicago Bears. The Buccaneers have some injuries, I'm not going to lie. They have some guys out, Chris Godwin being one of them. I think Leonard Fournette might be out as well. One of their receivers, Watson, I think might be out. I'm trying to think who else is out, but they have some injuries, I'll admit that. But we are still both going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. I think, we looked at Chicago last week, and look, they didn't look good on offense. They put in Nick Foles for the first time this year to start. They couldn't really move the ball. I know the Buccaneers' defense is not as good as the Colts, but at the same time, the Buccaneers do have a good run defense, in my opinion. They'll keep Montgomery in check. I mean, hopefully for my fantasy team's sake, they don't, but I think they'll keep him in check. They have to shut down Allen Robinson, of course, but if they can do that, I think they'll be fine. And Tom Brady's been great this year, in my opinion. A lot of good plays by him, a lot of balls that have been dropped by his receivers. I think they'll be able to move the ball on offense, and I trust Tampa Bay's defense, and so does Andrew, so we both go with the Buccaneers in Game 1. On the Sunday's games, Cincinnati at Baltimore. Baltimore's a minus 13.5. We both like the Bengals here. We agreed on the first 4 games, I think it is, but we both like the Bengals here. They got their first win last week. I think we both looked at it like this. I mean, Baltimore was able to win by 14 against Washington last week, We both think the Bengals are a better team than Washington. This one's at Baltimore, so it's different, but still, no fans, who really cares? So we both think the Bengals have a much better offense than Washington, and we think they'll be able to put up some points here. Baltimore still probably outright wins this game. Now, Lamar Jackson missed practice yesterday. I think he'll be fine. Don't worry about that. But we do like the Bengals here to put up some points, but still lose the game, but they can cover 13.5, so give us the Bengals there. Next is Carolina at Atlanta. My gut told me to pick Atlanta, but I just cannot come on here next week, look back on it, and say to myself, I am such a fool for picking the Falcons once again. We both went with the Carolina Panthers here. They've looked pretty good so far in the Matt Rule era. He's done a good job as a first-year head coach. I mean, all the players look pretty good for that team so far, their offense specifically. They have some young defensive players making impacts. Yetur Gross-Matos one who had a sack fumble last week, I believe, so good for him. Jeremy Chin's been playing well for that defense, so I don't know. I feel like Atlanta might have a spot game here where they put up a lot of points and win this game, but I can't trust them. I really can't. I'm going to go with Carolina. They have the better coaching staff. Andrew picks Carolina as well. We both like them there to win that game outright, I believe. Next is Las Vegas at the KC Chiefs. There was that video of Stephon Gilmore, a recent COVID victim who was right in the face of Patrick Mahomes. Nothing's come out about that yet, but we'll keep monitor of that situation. But we both like the Raiders here, so 13.5 points is a lot. I don't love the Raiders. I'm not really a believer in that team, but 13.5 points is a crazy amount. We're both going to go with the Raiders there. I think they're competent enough on offense. Josh Jacobs has had a good year running the ball. Darren Waller's been great. I think they get Ruggs back at wide receiver for the Raiders. So, look, I don't really trust their defense. They have some cornerbacks that are young, some guys that are out. Corey Littleton's been trashed this year, but I think they'll be good enough to cover a 13.5 point spread. So we both went with, almost at Oakland, Las Vegas there. Next is Andrew's Philadelphia Eagles. They're at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh is a -7. I like the Steelers a lot here. I'm going with them for my favorite bets. I think Pittsburgh's had a lot of time to prepare for this game. They've known for a while this was probably the next game on their schedule after the Tennessee one was canceled. Andrew goes with the Eagles. Probably an optimistic Eagles fan right now coming off that win. I still don't trust them to move the ball on the Steelers' defense. I think they'll be in Carson Wentz's face all day. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going with the Steelers. He's going with the Eagles on that one. The Steelers, as I said, one of my favorite bets this week as a -7. Next is Tennessee at Buffalo. This game is really up in the air right now. New COVID positives are coming out of Tennessee basically every day. They're breaking all kinds of rules over there. Not good by them. So we basically made our own spread for that one. We decided that Buffalo -2.5 would be a fair spread. So there's really no spreads on the board right now because sportsbooks don't want to put a spread out there not knowing what's going to happen. So like Corey Davis is out. Who else is out? Their defensive lineman Simmons is out. Jeffrey Simmons, I think it is. I mean, they have a bunch of guys out right now, so I mean, I'm not really sure what to expect from the Titans. But Andrew decides to go with the Titans here. I'm going with Buffalo. I just don't see how they lose this game. I know the Titans have the quote-unquote extended rest, but like I just don't see, Buffalo's rolling right now. They can score on anybody. It's 2 undefeated teams right here, but give me Buffalo. I think they'll win this game by 3 points or more, so I will take them. Next is the Los Angeles Rams at the Washington Football Team. So the Rams are a -7.5. This is one of Andrew's favorite bets this week. I think 7.5 is a lot. The Washington Football Team, they decided to bench Dwayne Haskins. They're starting Kyle Allen this week, the guy that started for Cam Newton last year in Carolina. He goes over with Ron Rivera, some familiarity there. So, look, I don't think Washington wins this game. I think they lose this game by 4 to 7 points. But, the Rams' offense last week didn't look that good. I know the Giants' defense did a good job against them, but I just don't really trust them too much. Of course, they could blow them out because Washington's just not good. But I think Washington can cover this game, so give me them at +7.5. Andrew takes the Rams as one of his favorite bets at -7.5. Next is the Arizona Cardinals at the Jets. Seems like Joe Flacco will start at quarterback for the Jets. That's some pretty big news right there. Arizona's been disappointing the past 2 weeks, but Andrew likes them once again, going back to the well. He likes Arizona as one of his favorite bets at -7. I don't trust Arizona as much as I did last week or 2 weeks ago. They're not my favorite, but I'm going to go with Arizona because Joe Flacco, look, he doesn't impress me. He hasn't impressed me since his Super Bowl year. Been a long time since then. So I will go with Arizona here. Get right game for that offense. They'll probably put up a lot of points here, so hopefully they blow them out. Next is Jacksonville at Houston. No more Bill O'Brien for Houston. I mean, we've seen some instances in the past where a coach is fired and then the team comes out and puts up a great performance. And we've also seen the opposite. I think back to, I don't know if it was the Dolphins maybe, like 4 or 5 years ago. They had that Campbell guy as their head coach, and the Dolphins started blowing people out by like 50 points. But then there's instances last year of like Ron Rivera gets fired and the Panthers just stop playing defense. So you never know how these things will go. It seems like it's a positive reaction that Bill O'Brien's gone because I don't know how much people liked him, honestly. So I think Houston's going to have a positive reaction here, but 6 points is a lot. I'm going to go with Jacksonville. I trust their offense here, and Houston's defense has been terrible. They miss a bunch of tackles, as we saw. I think Jacksonville's running back, I forget the guy's name now, unfortunately. Maybe something Robinson. I'm forgetting his name now. This is terrible. But their running back should have a good game. I think the passing game for Jacksonville will be good enough. I don't know if Jacksonville's going to win this game. I think Houston should win this game. But I think to cover 6 points, me and Andrew both like Jacksonville there. Miami at San Francisco. So San Francisco's a -8.5. I think the big news here is that they get Jimmy Garoppolo back. It's looking like that this week. George Kittle was just unguardable last week. He looked great. So Andrew's going with the Dolphins. I'm going with the Niners. I trust Kyle Shanahan to scheme up a offense that's good enough to beat this Dolphins defense. Their defense has not impressed me too much. Now I see it from Andrew's standpoint. The Dolphins, they can move the ball offensively. They go for a lot of field goals. I've noticed Brian Flores is a big field goal guy, so maybe they get enough points here to cover 8.5, but I think that this Niners offense will have a big game today. Ayuk has looked great so far. Deebo Samuel is back. As we said, George Kittle's back. I think they put up a good performance here offensively. They win this game by 10 points or more, in my opinion. I go San Fran. He goes Miami. Next is my New York Giants. They are a +10 at the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm going to go with the Giants. I'm kind of having regrets and second thoughts about this one because I don't know. I trust the Giants defense, but their offense is so bad. I don't know if the Giants can score enough points offensively to keep this one within 10. Now, I did say I think the score of this game is 30-24 Dallas. I don't know if the Giants are going to put up 24 now that I'm saying it out loud, but maybe 30-21 I'll take. But yeah, the Giants offense has been by far the worst in the football this year, but the Cowboys defense has been by far the worst in football this year. So something's got to, take a stand there. I feel like the Giants can put up at least a couple touchdowns in this game. If not, that's a bad look for Jason Garrett. The Cowboys offense has been good this year, really good. But the Giants' defense has been a bright spot. They shut down the Rams last week, basically, aside from a Cooper Kupp long touchdown. That was a miscommunication. They did a great job against the Rams, so I feel like the Giants' defense can step up here. I have them covering. Andrew's going to go with the Cowboys because he's a Giant hater, let's be honest here. Denver at New England. New England's a -8. We're not sure if Cam Newton's going to play. I would say probably not. Denver has a bunch of injuries right now, but I'm going to go with Denver. I picked them basically because New England has some COVID situations with Cam. They have Stephon Gilmore now out. And the Broncos have had extended rest here. They're going to have 10 days off, basically. They played last Thursday. A lot of time to prepare for this game. And I know it's different coaches, different roster, but it seems like over the years that the Broncos always seem to play the Patriots really closely. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I have no idea why. I know it's different teams, but it seems like the Broncos always do well against the Patriots. Even when they're not supposed to win these games, they find a way. So I'm going to go with the Broncos. He'll go with the Patriots, and I guess Brian Hoyer or Jared Stidham, whoever they start. But 8 points is a lot for quarterbacks like that. Next is Indianapolis at Cleveland. Indy is a -2. They've looked impressive defensively so far this year. I don't know how much I trust their offense. Phillip Rivers is doing what he has to do to win games, being a good game manager these days. But basically, I haven't seen Phillip Rivers look that great so far. He's made some nice throws here and there, but I just don't trust them. The Browns have a good defensive line. I think they maybe can get there to Phillip Rivers a few times in this game. I know they have a great offensive line in Indy. But yeah, the thing that scares me for the Browns, I would say, is probably their secondary. Can T.Y. Hilton finally have a good game? We'll see. But I went with the Browns. He went with the Colts. I know Andrew's a big believer in the Colts, so maybe they have a big day offensively. But I just think Cleveland's been really good running the ball. I know the Colts have a good defense, as we know, but Cleveland's been I think I saw a stat that they have the 4th most rushing yards in NFL history through a team's first 4 games. They've been just lights out offensively the past 3 weeks. I know they've been playing not so good defenses in that span, but still, I think Cleveland has a good enough of offense to win this game. They're at home, so I'll take Cleveland. Next is, I guess this is Sunday night, Minnesota at Seattle. Seattle's a -7. We both like the Vikings here. Now, of course, that whole Kirk Cousins can't play in primetime thing slips into my mind, but I don't think the Seahawks have Jamal Adams once again. I think that the Vikings offense is good enough. The Seahawks defense is not good. Like, let's just be honest with ourselves. They have no pass rush. Their secondary is like meh. Their linebackers are pretty good, but still, I don't really trust them, honestly. I think Justin Jefferson's been great. Adam Thielen's been great. Kyle Rudolph shows up when you need him to. So, like, I think that they'll put up enough points here. 7 points is a lot. I think this will be a high-scoring game. Seattle's going to get their points, obviously, but still, I just think 7's too much. Andrew feels the same way. We both take the Vikings there. And for Monday Night Football, the Los Angeles Chargers at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are a -8. That's a lot. So I know the Saints had a pretty impressive showing against the Lions last week, but we both like the Chargers here. The Chargers are my second part of my favorite bets at +8. I think that's a really good bet. The Chargers defense is an underrated unit. I think they'll be fine. Drew Brees does not look the same as he used to. Now, Drew Brees looked good last week as compared to the way he usually looks, but Justin Herbert's been so impressive, and they had a 24-7 or 24-8 lead in that game at Tampa. They probably should have won that game if it wasn't for the fumble inside their own 10-yard line with Josh Kelly. So I will say that the Chargers cover this game. Do they win this game? I don't know. Probably not. I would say the Saints probably win this game. I don't know if the Saints get Michael Thomas back. That's probably pretty important news that I should have looked up. But regardless, I think this is a good bet for the Chargers to cover 8 points. That's a lot, so I'll take them. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like we're supposed to do... Oh, the favorite bets. All right, I kind of went through that during the video. So my favorite bets this week, Chargers +8 and the Steelers -7. Andrew's favorite bets are the Rams -7.5 and the Cardinals -7. He has me by 1 game right now. He is 34-28-1. I am 33-29-1. So we'll see what happens this week. Should be a fun week. Hopefully Tennessee and Buffalo find a way to play. If not, that would suck to take off 2 weeks in a row. Maybe the NFL gives them an automatic loss for not following the rules. We'll have to see. But as always, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you guys next week. Hopefully Andrew's here joining me, and hopefully my Wi-Fi isn't crap. But we'll see. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.